Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture on development of expert system. In this lecture, we are going to discuss key steps involved in the structured approach for the development of expert systems. While developing an expert system, the designer and developer they follow these steps and consider to improve the effectiveness of the system, and also they try to build a reliable system for the specific needs. And there are 9 steps in this process. The first step is to identify the problem definition and the scope of the system. So first they should identify for which area of what purpose they are going to develop the system and what issues it is going to solve. For example, the system can be designed for an hospital to assist the doctor, so it can be used for medical diagnosis, or maybe the system may be defined as a financial advisor, like an expert system to assist the financial advisor, or maybe the system for customer support or legal advising. So according to the purpose, you should check for which environment or which area you are going to develop the system. You should clearly define goals, objectives, and the type of problems that the system will solve. And the second step is knowledge acquisition process. In this step, usually knowledge engineers, knowledge workers, and they involve knowledge experts and interact with uh, various experts in the domain. For example, for medical diagnosis, they may interact with the expert doctors. For financial advising, they may interact with experienced financial advisors to collect the knowledge, and then they may either communicate with them in person or get the response passing some queries and all. Otherwise they can send Google Sheet or Google form something to get answers for various queries, and then they have to review the document, and they should observe ways to extract rules, heuristics, and facts, guidelines that are defined as per experts knowledge. The next step is knowledge representation. So once the knowledge is cultured, you should refine the knowledge and find facts from it, and formulate rules, and also identify assumptions, key assumptions involved in the knowledge that describes the scenario. And you should organize and present the knowledge in specific forms, maybe in the form of then rules, or you may create a semantic network that represents the knowledge, or frames that represents the knowledge in the form of key value pairs, or maybe we create an object oriented model which involves objects which describes attributes and relationships or actions or methods involved in the process. So you should represent the knowledge in some form. So effective representation will make the inference engines to read and understand the knowledge, and it can make the effective inference from the rules and heuristics and facts. And then once the knowledge is represented in some form, then we design the inference engine for reasoning purpose. It may perform either backward reasoning or forward reasoning. We should implement a specific reasoning built in this inference mechanism that interacts with the knowledge base and performs operations to derive conclusions, which will help the decision making process. So while implementing algorithm, you should also match facts against rules. You should apply rules to infer new facts, and if there are uncertain knowledge, then you should also implement a necessary mechanism to deal with the uncertainty. And if there are conflicts, there may be two rules conveying the same thing, so you should try to add semantics representation for that, and otherwise remove the redundancy. Also, you should find a mechanism to deal with exceptions in the reasoning process. So this is the core part of the export system. The next step is user interface design. This is for enabling user to interact with the system easily. You should create a user-friendly interface that makes the user to interact with the expert system. So while designing a user interface, you should follow usability principles, that is UI design principles, and you should ensure that the user is able to pass query and get the recommendations, and you should display explanations as well. The next step is integration of components. So if all the components are ready, knowledge base and inference engine, UI, you can integrate all these components to create a uh, whole export system. And you should also implement data exchange mechanism and communication facility for making the components to interact with each other. Then we go for testing and evaluating the system, because you should check whether the system works properly and gives correct response, and it is reliable to the user. So you should give possible inputs and test for various scenarios how it works. So check the completeness and robustness of the system, and also you should also check the criteria to be satisfied, some standards to be adopted, and evaluate the system. The next stage is to deploy the system in the customer place or in the operational environment. So the system will be used by end users, or it will be integrated with the existing system. So in this step, you should also provide necessary training to the users, because the user may be unskilled user. You should provide necessary training and support to the users so that they can effectively utilize the system. You should also explain to them necessary guidelines and maintenance procedure, and you should also uh, include how to update the knowledge base. So you should also interact with them for updating the knowledge base, and you should also connect with the developers or designers to incorporate the new knowledge, and to refine the inference engine based on user feedback and experts knowledge. The next step is monitoring and improvement. For further improvement of the system, so you should to ensure the satisfaction of customer or the clients, you should monitor the system periodically, and regularly. You should also gather feedback from users and domain experts, identify various areas for improvement, and also optimization can be done wherever it is necessary. Continuously you should update and refine the knowledge base and the inference engine to increase its accuracy, efficiency, and usability over time. So that's on these lectures. In this lecture we have discussed key steps involved in the process of developing an expert system. Thank you all.